afternoon, budding authors. Natasha Denman here, just doing another little value add for you guys and answering any questions you may have around this particular topic that I selected today to speak about. And that is the good old question of what the hell do I need to do to become known as an author and of course attract people into buying my books and being interested in terms of what I do and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of the biggest challenges whenever I ask people, what is your biggest challenge when you think about writing a book? They often say to me, look, I get scared that I'm going to get stuck with a garage full of books. And that's become a little bit of, stigma around, many people who've written their books and not actually done too much with them. So here today on this live, I just want to share with you guys a few different things that I have done myself and that I educate my authors around. And I have to say, you're not going to like everything I'm going to say, because it will seem like, gosh, I don't want to do that, because it seems like a lot of hard work. And yes, in the beginning, starting something brand new, launching a new book, launching a new business, building up a new skill. Not a lot of authors are actually techie savvy. I have found that I come across 50% of the authors that I help that are quite savvy in technology, and the other 50% just don't even want to go there. However, there is an essential balance that you need to achieve as an author, and that is the ability to promote yourself online and offline. And I've always been a big believer that we first become famous offline before we become famous online. And that gives us kind of that period of time that we are going to need to, I guess, get techie savvy and understand technology a little bit more, and get into the social media world and all that sort of stuff. So let's talk about the offline strategies first of all, and then we're going to talk about some of the online ones that you can be doing as you are launching or pre-launching your book, and moving forward years and decades after your book launches out. So with my own experience, just for those of you that don't know me, my first book came out about 7.5 years ago, and subsequently I've released a book every year. And honestly, the more books you write, the more books that you're going to sell, and you will make a lot more passive revenue income as you write more books, rather than just rely on that first one. And I know it might sound really scary. It's like, oh my God, like I can't even write my first book right now. How am I going to write that many? But it just happens one step at a time. And for me, every year, I don't go, okay, it's this time of the year and I should be writing my next book. It doesn't happen that way. Kind of, I get a surge of inspiration and idea, and hey, Wendy and David, I get this surge of inspiration and ideas around what I want to write, and literally then I obviously execute my 48-hour author system to turn that book around and bring it into reality. I mean, just last night I was speaking at an event. There wasn't many people there, but I walked away with $300 worth of product sales. Now, that's not too bad, from like 5 or 6 people that I was surrounded by. I sold some product and opportunity to have people come along to my workshop, a couple of tickets to my workshop, which a lot of people would go, oh, I don't want to go and do things that could be a waste of my time. And I have been a big believer that any opportunity that you get given, especially in the early days, you need to say yes to, right? And you need to go out there, because it actually gives you the practice runs and to build up your skills and your confidence and your ability to present yourself as a speaker or author, because every author literally needs to speak if they want to be able to promote their book. So the important things that you should be doing is, even before your book comes out, is to be building your network. So get out there. Join a couple of groups that you can become a member of. Get known by people that are going to then support you, and perhaps then look out for opportunities or connections and collaborations to connect you with other people. It's not so much looking for that next person who'd be an ideal reader of your book. It's more about finding other people who you can collaborate with, so that you can actually multiply that effect, and they can obviously share it with an audience that would benefit from from your book. So networking has been my one of my biggest leverage points. I know it takes time. I know you got to drive to places and get out in the cold. You can see I've got my scarf and jackets on. It's cold here in Melbourne. Going to the snow tomorrow, so really excited about that. And yeah, you gotta get dressed up, you know, and be presentable, and all of that takes time. I mean, how easy is it just to chill out here in the office in the warm house and just do a live stream, which is obviously a way that I'm adding value and promoting now online. However, the offline stuff, yes, it takes a lot more time, effort, and energy to do, but I believe it will fast track the awareness of people. I walked into that event last night, and it was actually hosted by one of my authors, Katerina Raikakis, who wrote a book called Feel Good Now. And she spoke, like, she literally came up to me, not even in front of the audience, and she said, Nat, you know, I've just been networking, just like you said I should be doing. And wherever I go, I sell 2 or 3 books. And I'm not even the speaker. She said, just conversations get started. People are curious about what I've got. But the other thing that's happening to me is they're kind of like wanting to figure out a way that could help me further, some of the people, and who else they can connect me with. And that is really, really powerful. And I go, keep going, keep saying yes to everything, because that is going to get you a key opportunity, and it's going to help you also refine how you promote and position yourself, and how you also pitch or present what your book is about. So that's a really important aspect of selling more product and books. There you go. Wendy's also one of my authors, and she's actually in pre-launch stage right now, guys. So I'll talk about pre-launch in a moment. So she sold one yesterday, just sharing her story, which is awesome. So this is exactly it. My whole mindset when I started out in business is that I needed to tell 2 new people every day that I was in business. Back then, at the very, very beginning, I didn't have a book for the first year. But then as my first book came out, then I would look for a way that I could show someone my book or talk about my book and, you know, take the conversation further. And my husband used to think I was actually quite crazy, as I would always look for a sneaky way to figure out to talk about my passion and my business and my book and all that sort of stuff, which didn't, it wasn't odd. It just started to fit around, you know, there's ways we can turn the conversation around to speak about those kind of things, which is what I believe also was enabled me to establish more awareness of who I was, what I was doing, and for people to get their minds clicking over as to how they could help me. And it wasn't like contrived or anything like that. So pre-launch status, like Wendy's saying, we actually, this last retreat, we laminated all of our authors' mock-up covers on an A4 piece of paper. And we actually gave them, each of them, those. I usually encourage them. It's like basically what you see behind me on my cupboard wall. All of those covers are laminated, and so we did that for the authors that were pre-launching about 10 days ago at retreat. And basically, what I encourage them to do when you do go out networking, like Wendy has, you know, stand up and introduce yourself with that laminate. And tell people your story and what you're passionate about, and that this book is going to come out in the next few months, and you will get more pre-sales going. But more so, and I always say this, at the end of the day, you guys are in the industry that I operate in, and that is helping entrepreneurs, solopreneurs publish their first books and leverage the business through the book. It's not about the units of book sales that you're selling, but it is what can you attract in terms of opportunities, collaborations, because now this business card on steroids is giving you the credibility to be noticed a lot more. So what does an author have to do to get noticed? Well, show off your book, right? That's the name of this live. Show it off. Many of I've mentored a lot of people, and a big mistake I see, even as I'm mentoring them, and then I kind of go around to their websites. I cannot see their website, their book plastered anywhere all over their website. So I always say to people, if you have a book, please plaster it everywhere. Put it on your email signature. Put it on your business cards, put it on your speaker bio, put it on your website, on every page of your website. I'm sure you have like a standard design that carries across the different pages of your website. You know, every marketing collateral should have that there, because it's just that little subconscious thing that makes people go, oh, this person is an author, increased credibility, all of these things happen in our brain that, you know, it's not like being shoved in your face, but it is there to show that credibility. The interest is what I'm doing was more the conversation, not the book. And that's right, Wendy. Thank you for adding on that extra comment, because that's what you want the interest to be. Because then people go, well, how do you actually help people? How do you, where does this take you? A lot of the time, the reality is most people will never read our books in their entirety. It has been said that more than 95% of people never read past chapter 1. And this is why I have always said, cut your perfectionism, tendencies. That's the word I'm looking for. Get rid of those tendencies, because it's okay not to be perfect. You're actually giving permission to people to stuff up and also not be perfect themselves, because we're all doing the best we can. And I have always said loudly and proudly that most of my books, you will find errors in them, because I have not gone through them 100 million times over. I have just let them out, because the point is I want to help people. And the gold is in the content. If there wasn't a comma here, or there was a slight little mistake, it's not the end of the world, right? Get the stuff out there, because most people just want to know, hey, you've gone as far as backing yourself with your message to write a book, and that's what's important to me. Now tell me how you can help me. So that's the offline, a couple of strategies. Of course, there's so much offline. We could say, look out for speaking gigs, set up your own events, which is where you're taking the ultimate responsibility, but then you of course have and possess the ultimate power in terms of what you can present, what you can offer, and how you can take people to the next step. And yes, all of these offline things are not easy to do. There's intricate details, there's templates, there's systems, there's lead up periods, all of that kind of stuff, which is obviously what we teach people how to do. Wendy came along recently to a lead explosion masterclass, and she learned all about how to create something that would attract someone into her database. And then potentially the next step could be, hey, check out the sample of my book or whatever, and take them through a few steps to ultimately build the warmth and the relationship that is required for someone to go, you know what, I trust Wendy. I think she's going to look after me. She seems to be adding a lot of value. I mean, that's why, the last few weeks I've been coming on this fan page and just giving you guys bits and pieces out of everything that I'm teaching through my program, because I just want to help people. If you can take away, and if you spent the time, by the way, listening to me for the last however long this live goes for, and you go away and do nothing with this information you've been given, what a waste of time. Don't even bother. Every time as a student, and I consider myself in the first 2 to 3 years of when I was in business, and now we're at 8.5 years in, I've considered myself a student. Yes, you're doing it kind of work experience while you are experiencing everything in real life scenarios. But I was a student. I was going to a lot of courses. I was listening to a lot of webinars. I was being mentored one-on-one. I invested in a lot of things the first 2 or 3 years. And that time, of course, was split between me growing my business as well as obviously being a student. But never did I invest an hour of my time. Let's say I've watched a webinar, and then absolutely did not follow through and did 1 or 2 things. So for me, the goal was always to have 1 or 2 gold nuggets, something that is actually really practical and implementable, and actually go out there and do it almost within the following 24 hours. Whenever I'd go to a course, same thing. And nowadays when I get to go to some educational stuff and be the student, I also sit there and I sometimes can hear the same thing over and over and over again, because I have done a lot of education around marketing and sales. But there's always some intricate new thing that I didn't hear before that I had heard now. And I'm going to a thing in a couple of weeks' time, and I'm trusting I'm going to walk away with that 1 or 2 gold nuggets. Because as you add those little gold nuggets on top of every action that you do consistently, it turns into a mountain of good activities, good quality activities that will be bringing you consistent interest into your book, into your business, into what you're doing. All right, let's move on to online kind of stuff. And online, yes, it can be scary for those of you that are not that techy, and those of you that may be watching this live might have a bit of tech, because the people who are truly not techy are not even on Facebook or use a lot of social media. So online kind of stuff really goes in complement with the offline, because whatever you're doing offline, hey, broadcast it online. Last night I was at the speaking gig. I took a photo of myself in front of my setup desk and my PowerPoint and my banner and all that kind of stuff. It was fun, and people took photos with me, that tagged me, that put me on social media. What does that do? All of a sudden, others are going, oh my God, you know, where did this happen? Oh yes, she seems like she's really out there. She's doing stuff. So people want to know that you're active, that you're accessible, that you will respond to them. That's actually another thing, like online. A lot of people hit us up with emails, with private messages, with comments and all that kind of stuff. How are you managing that, and how are you operating in that space? Because people want an answer very, very, very rapidly. And I think, David, I don't know if you're still watching, but you sent me a message like literally a few minutes ago, and I responded. You're coming to the Brisbane workshop soon, and I'm very fast at things. Why? Because pretty much most of my business is now systemized. So all I'm doing on a daily basis is clearing up my inboxes and responding to people and all that kind of stuff. The other system, so the beauty about creating a book is that you're creating a system, which means that system can be gotten to a point where it can be ticking over on pretty much autopilot with some adjusting and managing. So I've been spending the last couple of days tidying up some templates, cleaning out my folders within my email system, because I don't like to have a lot of clutter. I just love my Dropbox. I've been cleaning out all of that. Just going, okay, I'm about to enter 30 days of absolute crazy national tour of 10 events into every state into Australia from Monday, going to Perth first. And I'm going to be really busy, so I want everything to be super clean. Yes, I'm still here, taking everything you're saying. Thanks, David. Yeah, so I do these things regularly. Why? Because it makes me find things a lot faster. It makes me more efficient, makes me more effective. And I kind of have a lot of spare time. So then I go, what else can I systemize? The more I systemize, the more I'm able to then just manage communication. And Wendy this morning I got stuck with creating her Bitly link, and she asked a question in the group. Okay, I saw that pop up. I can give an answer straight away. So sometimes people, when they're working with you, may not be able to locate certain things, because to you it's like common sense, right? But to others who are going through the process for the first time through what I'm presuming is your system, it's like, am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? Where is this resource and all that kind of stuff? So it's really important that you keep systemizing. Your book is really the central point and the skeleton to where your system begins, and of course then there's the other parts around the system. So there you go. So really, really important that you're sharing online what is happening in your offline world, that you do stay positive, and that you add value to people around the topic that you're an expert in, just like I'm doing right now. I come on these lives not because anyone pays me to do them. I enjoy them. I enjoy sharing the information. I enjoy interacting with people, and then, you know, if you add enough value, people who follow you for it, because that's what people do online. They follow, and you don't know. And can you believe, can I just reveal something? That the people who have become my clients, because they've been following me over 3 or 5 years online, can you believe they're the ones that never commented, that never liked, that just kind of came out of nowhere. I thought, oh, that was easy. And then we have a discussion, and they say, oh yeah, I've been watching you and following for the last 3 years. So how come you've never interacted with my stuff? Oh, I don't really do that. So be very mindful that people are watching. You know, I mean, David and Wendy are chatting on this. You know, they've been on this live since I started, and we're having a bit of a conversation here while it's happening live. And you know, Wendy's one of my clients. David's coming to the next workshop. But I know, you know, some others who will be watching this recorded are never going to say anything or do anything, and maybe they'll be like that, observing and gaining value from you as the expert, and one day you'll get a phone call and it's like, how can we work together? And you kind of think, oh, that was kind of magical, but it's not. It has been said that it takes 10 to 12 hours of content consumption from someone, for someone from you, in order for them to be ready to do business with you. So what happens in those 10 to 12 hours? Well, in those 10 to 12 hours, they're kind of going, do I like her? Is she kind of my type of person? Does she have the energy that would probably match? Is she trustworthy? Or do I believe and value in the same things that she's saying? Or does this make sense? Am I getting aha moments from her? Has she got, other people that she's helped? What is the social proof, and what are people saying about her or him, like whatever it is? And so the person over those 10 to 12 hours are working out all of those things. And Francesca likes to say they're ticking, they have boxes in their mind, and they're ticking stuff off about you until they feel safe, that it's safe to reach out, or they really have reached a point of pain that they really want to solve this problem that you perhaps solve for other people. And so that is really important. So when you're an author, to get noticed, you have to do multiple things. You do need to spread your message in a written format, but you have to spread your message also in a video format, in a live streaming or recorded format, or workshops that you're running, or where that people see you speaking. Last night, for example, I had a lady who attended my half-day event in March, and then she came to the speaking gig last night. Now, I'm building up that relationship and those hours, if you want to call it in a mathematical way, but things are, progressing in some way. You know what I mean? And so I find that a lot of people can just go, okay, I wrote the book. It was this big, massive project. I'm so glad it's over. Now I can relax. And I say, well, really, the real work starts now. When your book is out, how can you multiply and rip off and duplicate yourself, because it's your content at the end of the day, as many times as possible, right? How can you deliver an event from content of the book? How can you do look out for speaking opportunities? How can you create a blog post, a live stream about a tip that you want to that you have shared in your book? There's just so many ways. Where can you upload these things? If you've created a video, could this video also go on your YouTube channel if it's live? Like my VA often will extract these videos, and she will re-upload them and post them up on YouTube, and the subscribers then will be aware. So you want to make the most out of the time and the effort that you make to create content for your audience. Nowadays, of course, advertising is called content marketing, right? It's about value before you ask for the sale. And usually it is 90 to 95% of the time that content and authors and content marketers, if you want to call them, are spending and delivering and developing content for free. And it is only 5% of our time that is spent actually working at the highest paid level, if you want to call it that. So yes, this live was not just purely to tell you, hey, this is what you do with your book, and this is how you promote it. It's more about, who are you as an author? What do you believe? What is your message? How can you get your message out there to add value to people who perhaps have a problem that you have already solved for yourself, and now you've got the shortcuts that you can share and sort of backtrack for other people? It's not easy. It's totally worth it. I can guarantee you it's going to feel like a crazy world when you begin on the journey, refining and becoming better at those strategies, like events, speaking, all of that kind of stuff, knowing what to pack, what not to pack, all that kind of, all of those bits and pieces that go into the logistics. But once you do things a few times, it becomes really second nature. So then it can become easy. I know, trust me, in the time when I was in my first 3 years, it was like, is life really going to be like this forever? I felt so overwhelmed, so messy, so all over the place, not knowing what to do next and trying many different things. But I can tell you now in hindsight, 8.5 years in, the last 4 years have been It's flowing, smooth. Of course, we've had moments of things where we've needed to, oh, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that more, or we should adjust it. There's still continuous testing and measuring, right? But life is not as hectic as it used to be. So yes, you got to go through the hectic stage before things settle down, and you go into a very systematic and orderly fashion, which is ultimately what us human beings thrive on, is that routine and order and ability to, obviously, for people to feel that from us as well, because people do want to know that it's not going to be their journey with you or process is not going to be overwhelming, that you do have your shit sorted together, and the processes are in place. So guys, I trust this has added some value. If you are watching the recording, like it, give me a comment. What was one little takeaway that you got from this live? I'd love to know. If you want me to talk on different author-related topics that are around leveraging. So realistically, what we here at Ultimate 48 Hour Author, what we do is not so much help people in the traditional sense of write a fiction story or a children's book and all that sort of stuff. We're all about creating that business behind the book. Either you start with the book and you create the business, or you have the business and now you have the book, and how you marry those two up together to create a massive explosion of leverage and credibility, and the little tips and tricks that you can do to generate more opportunities on your journey. So if there's any things related to those kind of topics, if you want more depth around, say, what do you say when you go networking, or how does one go about running an event that is linked up to their book, all that kind of stuff, I would be more than happy to jump on. I've made a commitment to come on live in this group a few times a week, as long as I'm not crazily going around the country. But if I'm around at home, I'll always think of something to come and just connect with you guys more regularly, because I've been doing a lot on my personal profile, but I've now you know what? I'm gonna go and talk to my nearly 8,000 people who are part of this community and are still thinking about writing that first book. And if you're anywhere around Australia, I'm coming around to your city, so do check out our national tour. It's somewhere on this page in the events tab. And also next week, I'm interviewing one of my authors, Kitty Cheng, on a webinar. We are running a webinar together. And that'll be on Monday, the 20th, right? And I'll be over in Perth, but she'll be in Melbourne, so it'll be 7:30 Melbourne time, 5:30 Perth time, and whatever that is anywhere else in the world. So if you guys want to check that out, I'm going to post the link if you want to register for that evening. That would be awesome. And we're going to share some. Her book is called Juggling Health and Wealth, and we're going to have tips and tricks around what has been successful for her in terms of how she's promoted and gotten noticed with her book, as well as sharing some awesome strategies that she teaches as a result of what she has written about in terms of her topic. So I'm going to sign off now. I'll post this couple of links for the national tour and the webinar, and I hope to see you at one of those events. Bye, guys.